right, we're back for part 2. Take 2. Wow. So, sorry about that, guys. We did have a little audio issue here in the studio. It is live, so this is what happens sometimes when live things happen. But welcome back, or hopefully thank you guys for still sticking around. Before we get into the show and my super awesome guest, which I'm very excited about, we have a couple things we want to talk to you guys about and let you guys know about the upcoming shows and all the great stuff we have planned for you guys. So please go to your app store. You can download our app at Go Live Vegas. You can use this for Apple, for Android. Go to your app store, download the app. You can take us with you anywhere you go. It plays music 24 hours a day, and then it has all the different shows that are also produced here in the studio. So check out those other shows too, because they're all very cool. Also, you can check us out online at afterdark.host. It's not .com, it's afterdark.host. On that site, you can click down, you can see all of our stuff. We have Facebook and Instagram, Periscope, and YouTube. Please click like and share, subscribe, click on the little bell thing so it notifies you when our new episodes air. Make sure you check out all of our past episodes because we have a lot of great guests on so far, and we're going to have more. Also, we're going to be putting up the phone number here soon, but it's 702-660-7666. Believe it or not, I did not actually choose that number. He had that beforehand, and everybody looks at me like, oh, of course. And I'm like, no, I actually didn't actually plan that. And we like to thank our sponsor, Terror Sound Clothing out of the UK. They got a batch of shirts came in, but they weren't very good, so they sent them back. But they're going to be getting it in, and we're going to be sporting our new sponsor shirts here very soon. And you guys can check them out on Twitter at Terror Sound Clothing in the UK. Check them out and check out their stuff. Also, upcoming guest. Next week we got my buddy Johnny Katz, who is the entertainment writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal here in town. He has all the dish and gossip on all the people here in town and around the world. He's got some really good stuff. Also, my buddy Murray Sawchuk, Magic Murray, has a show at Tropicana. So if you're in Vegas, and make sure you guys go to the Tropicana, check out a show at the Laugh Factory. It happens like 5-6 days a week, but go to the Tropicana's website. You can see all that. And my buddy Christian Brady is going to be coming in soon. He's a guitar player for Hell Yeah. If you guys like heavy metal and rock and all that great stuff, make sure you guys tune in. He's got a lot of great stories about touring with Vinnie Paul before he passed and working with all that kind of stuff. I think you guys are going to love it. And we just booked in Joshua Warren. For those of you guys who might not know who he is a UFO guy. He's going to be our first UFO guy. I'm super excited. He was friends with Art Bell, and he claims to have, I should say, parts of the Roswell crash, and he's going to be bringing those live in the studio, and we're going to be showing you guys all this great stuff. It's going to be really freaking cool, and I got some other stuff lined up, but we haven't fully booked it yet, but we're going to have some adult stars in the house, and that's going to be fun. All the orifices. It's going to be so much good. Also, guys, you can check me out at Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum 5 days a week here in Las Vegas. I perform. I'm part of the tour, so you just pay to get in, and you get to see me and all the great stuff that we have in the museum. I'm there every day except Tuesdays and Thursdays, so come and check us out, please. And if you guys are Ghost Adventures fans, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys are watching today are, and I hope you are, you can check out my episode on the Gates of Hell, and you can see my next guest on there with me as well. I'd like to welcome my buddy Jay Wasley to the show. Jay!
Thank you.
Yeah, this is our largest in-studio audience ever. Yeah, there's literally a handful of people here. It's not that big in here, so we gotta do.
Over the fire code regulations.
Yeah, but that's okay. We won't report it. It's all fine. So I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. I know we've been trying to put this together now for a little while and emailing back and forth, but I know you guys have been shooting new season, and then you guys got the new show, Screaming Room. So before we get into all that great stuff, let's. A lot of people don't know a lot about you. I've been talking to people online over the last couple days since I posted that you were going to be on the show. So let's start at the beginning.
Sure.
Where are you from?
From New Jersey.
You're from Jersey?
I'm a Jersey
I'm from New York originally. That's why we
South Jersey, though.
Well, so that's all right. It's
Jersey.
It's a
different world.
It is, but it's
Jersey.
Jersey.
Different states.
Yeah.
Yeah, just outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in a little town.
Did you used to go over to the Mutter Museum?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that place was great.
Every time I'm back home, I always go there.
It's so good.
I love
It's
it there.
literally one of my favorite museums,
absolutely.
other than the Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Which
shameless plug
is my favorite museum.
It really is. I mean, not just because I work there, but I mean, before I even worked there, I went as a guest, and I was like, this place is so cool.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from him one day, and I'm like, get the hell out of town.
Right. That's
All right,
great.
so for me, it's been great. But so you're from Jersey, and when did you move from Jersey? Where did you come to Vegas first, or did you move around?
I kind of slowly made my way across the country.
Creeping across.
Just creeping around. I started in New Jersey, born and raised, and I lived in Philadelphia for a long time.
Oh, nice.
Down in South Philly, kind of lived there.
Did you like Scrapple? I discovered.
No.
So I got introduced to Scrapple
I
in
know
Philly.
about it.
Very
I
interesting.
did it when I was a kid, but I haven't eaten meat in like 15 years.
Yeah,
plus,
so I'm recently vegan.
Oh, nice. Very
and
good.
I think we're about 4 months in now.
Right. How you
And
feeling?
I feel great. First of all, I did not do it for animal welfare. I'm not gonna lie, I did it for health reasons.
Yeah.
Because my blood pressure and cholesterol and all that stuff was all jacked up, and I was like, you know what? I have some friends. Some of them work at the museum. One of them is Frank Mir, who is UFC champion,
Right.
and he's a vegan. And I'm like, looking at that guy, he looks like a
Right.
wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, look at that guy.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
There's a lot of misinformation. About
There's a lot of
veganism,
misinformation out there, and let me tell you, since I've done it, I feel great.
Yeah.
And I don't miss it.
Right.
I thought I was like, oh, I'm gonna be Jones, and
Right. Yeah.
there's
I
so
never did
many
either.
options, especially in this town.
Right.
Like Chef Kenny's.
Oh yeah,
which
Chef Kenny's is amazing.
so
Probably one of
good.
my favorite. The sushi.
Oh my God, it's everything you ever wanted. Meat, you can have it, and
Exactly.
it tastes identical
Right.
without any of the stuff in
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh.
But yeah. So Philadelphia, stayed away from Scrapple. My dad would always try to cook it for breakfast.
Really? Did he make it?
No,
Oh,
we
you
just
just
buy
bought
it.
it? You
But,
just bought it, yeah.
My parents are from England. Well, my mom's from England. My dad's from the Isle of Man. And my dad's kind of always had this thing about eating weird things.
Yeah.
Like he's a businessman, so he's always out on the road.
On
He
the
goes to
road.
all these different countries, eats all kind of weird things. So we'd always kind of try in a way to get.
I spent some time in China. I lived
Okay.
in Shanghai for a bit.
Oh, nice.
And I ate a lot of weird things over
Yeah.
there because you could.
Right.
It's like you want to eat something's butthole. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ate a
easily
lot of weird.
accessible.
I ate a lot of weird stuff.
Right.
Very interesting time in my life. Was
So,
there.
but yeah, so I tried to stay away from that as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then lived in Philly for a while, and then kind of started, I guess, my film career in the Philadelphia area, work in Philadelphia. And the great thing, New York's only about 2 hours away,
Yeah.
so you can get up there easily. And then eventually I left Philly and I actually lived in the Pocono Mountains for a while.
I remember the Poconos. I performed my little magic act up there.
Oh, right.
Oh, all the
Pocono Palace
all the
or
Pocono places. Right.
Yeah, I lived in a little town called Bushkill that has a bunch of waterfalls. and
Yeah. Oh.
It was great. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was up on top of a mountain. The backyard looked over just hills and preserved state land. But being on the road so much, the closest airport was Newark. So it was like an hour and a half drive. You're on the road for a week or 2 weeks. You come back, get home at 2 in the morning. There's 2 feet of snow in the
Yeah.
driveway. It's
I-
kinda
yeah.
got over that pretty quick.
Right? That is one of the beautiful things
Right.
about living out west is
Oh, yeah.
you don't have to shovel the sun.
Exactly. I definitely don't miss shoveling snow.
So you went from Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
and then did you move, was it your next move to here?
Nope. So before I moved here from the Poconos, I went to Nashville.
Nashville? Oh,
I actually lived in
nice.
Nashville for probably about 4 years
Yeah.
or so, somewhere out there. And, then,
And you were doing the film thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, doing the film thing. Still doing the show as well at the time.
Oh, so you were flying in
Yeah.
from Nashville
Yeah.
into Vegas
Yeah,
and then, or wherever you guys
yeah,
were?
I first started Ghost Ventures. I was living in Philadelphia at the time.
Oh, okay.
So pretty much from there on, every time I moved, as long as I can get to an airport, I can
Yeah,
get
you
out
can
to
get
the
wherever
shoot.
you got to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're only a couple hours
Right.
away from anything.
And then, so yeah, which was kind of sad. I woke up this morning hearing about the tornadoes in Nashville.
Yes.
Which is kinda
My
sad, 'cause-
mom lives in about an hour and a half outside of Nashville,
really?
and I've been trying to reach her all day, and I've not
Oh, wow.
had much luck.
Right. Well, I think if you're outside of Nashville, you're probably good.
Yeah.
It seems like East Nashville and all that
Got-
area just
got bombarded, yeah.
torn up. But,
Wow.
So yeah, just had to hear that. But luckily, everyone I know was all right. Yeah, and then from Nashville, made my way to Vegas and been here about 2 years now.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Oh, I love it.
It's great here, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
weather's great.
What-
You know, everyone's like, oh, it's so hot. The heat's gonna be terrible. I loved it.
Yeah.
When I left Nashville, it was about 80 degrees, but humid.
Yes.
So I would walk out of my house, I'd be drenched.
Yeah.
I'd be soaking
That was
wet.
the thing in New York. There,
Right.
It was like it's hot and humid, and it's like chewing air.
Right.
And out here, it's like, yeah, it's hot. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. When it's 110, it is 110.
Oh, yeah.
No joke. But there's these great things. It's invention. It's called air conditioning.
Exactly.
They make them nowadays, and everyone has them.
Right.
It's pretty great out here.
So I love it. I can much rather handle the heat than
Wow.
snow and cold.
Yeah, absolutely. I
100%.
wholeheartedly. So you were talking about how you started with Ghost Adventures. For those of you guys who might not know, Jay's primary job on Ghost Adventures is running all the audio visual, correct?
Yep.
That's your technical.
Yeah, I
gig
guess
on the show.
from my tech stand of I set up the nerve center, I make sure all that's ready to go, all the equipment, things like that, kind of make sure all that's ready to go. And I also, during the first half of the show, I also shoot it. I'm one of the cinematographers,
Okay.
so...
You shoot like B-roll?
No, like the actual, with Zach, Aaron, Billy,
well, I
and
know,
myself,
when we did the episode together, I remember you were right in there with us.
So that's another, I guess, technical aspect of the job as well.
Nice. So so you're in Philly. How did Zach find you?
So at the time, I guess simple answer is I got a call.
Yeah.
At the time, they would always hire a local sound guy wherever they would go.
Yeah.
For the first few seasons, they would do that. But the problem is, sometimes you're out in the middle of nowhere, you're in the middle of the desert or some town, and they weren't finding always the best crew members to draw from. So I guess at some point they wanted to bring on a full-time sound guy. I was doing a show for Discovery Channel and TSC at the time, doing sound called Wreck Chasers, which we followed tow truck companies.
I've seen those shows.
Which was insane. It was the only job where they actually had bulletproof vests for us.
Was it really it wasn't like set up? It was legit.
This was like gang wars, basically.
Really?
And they don't do it anymore. Basically, kind of offshoot about what that was about.
Yeah.
Was in Philadelphia at the time anyway. So there's a wreck, right?
Yeah.
Two cars collide. Most cities have what's called a rotation, where they'll have a list of all the tow truck companies. They call the list.
Yeah.
If you don't respond in 20 minutes or
they
so,
call the
next one. They
Yeah.
go down the list. Philadelphia has that, but it's such a busy city, they don't enforce it.
Yeah.
So it's literally a race to get to the scene first.
Wow.
And whatever
So they hear it on a radio,
Yep.
if they hear it on a police scanner, and then they just
rush. And if you're there first, you get the person to sign off.
Wow.
Then it's your car.
And it's your bit.
But the problem is, opposing companies get there at the same time. They fight. They argue. People were shot over this. People were murdered over this.
Really? So tow company guys would actually kill each other over that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
It was.
that's a bad exception. I can understand a fist fight, a little bit, a little shoving, spitting, or whatever. But to shoot somebody, you're definitely not getting this job now.
Right, exactly.
Because now you shot someone.
Well, it caused all this, competition. And
Yeah.
It just was, and a lot of these guys, they're good guys, but it's in rough parts of the town.
Yeah.
It's just.
So you're dealing with interesting characters.
So we would just basically sit around and listen to police scanners, and then when there's a hit rush in, and the thing was crazy is that you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It could be a stolen car and a police chase. We roll up, there's a police shooting going on and stuff. Like, we just know there's a wreck, so we just show up.
So were you in the tow vehicles, or did you guys have like a chase truck?
Both. We would have both. Sometimes we would hop in with the tow truck company, or in like a follow van, or they would even send guys on motorcycles first to weave in and out of traffic to get there first.
Wow.
So it was crazy. So
That's
it's surreal, and it lasted. I think it did 6 episodes.
Really?
But the problem was there was so much violence and
they were
unfortunately murders and things that the police started enforcing the rotation.
The rotation.
So it kind of just killed the show after a while.
Then the excitement was kind of.
But yeah, so I was doing sound for that show, and for that type of show, it was very hardcore. It was really on the run. And the company that was producing that show was also the company that does all the logistics and office work and production for Ghost Adventures.
Okay.
And it was good timing. They were looking for a full-time sound guy. They saw me and was like, oh, this guy's doing great on this show. Let's send him out. And so it was a gig, and flew out to Vegas actually for the first time. We went out to Goldfield.
Okay.
That was my first episode, The Return to Goldfield.
The Return, yep.
And then
I've driven through that town.
Right?
It's just a weird. It's like
it's like
literally like boom.
Right.
And it's like all the old trucks just everywhere, and I'm like, oh wow, this is a movie waiting to happen.
Right. Which I think they have made the movie, but I don't know if it's any good or not.
It's just a neat town. I remember driving through, and I'm like, wow, look at this. Because I was on my way up to Reno, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, like pretty much halfway through.
Yeah.
But so I went out there, and like I said, it was just a gig doing sound at first, and then over time I became the regular sound guy. So I was doing every episode, and then probably after I did about a season or so, just strictly doing sound.
Yeah.
But what I love about the show too, and what I first took away from it at the beginning was, I've worked in reality TV, I've worked on a bunch of shows, and reality TV is always kind of weird, and you never know what you're going to get. But I remember being impressed. I didn't really know the guys at the time.
Yeah.
I was just a crew guy. I remember watching the episode I worked on. I was like, wow, that's what really happened.
Yeah.
Like this is.
It's not
truthful.
been edited
right.
to the
It's
point
not twisted,
where
it's not changed, and I was
Yeah.
really impressed by that. And I think personally that made me believe in the
Yeah.
show even more and be more passionate about it. And then being on the road with the guys, like we became friends. You know,
Yeah.
we're always on the road, and it's only a small crew.
Yeah. Well, because there's just the four of you, really.
Right, exactly.
Are the main.
Right, we
people.
don't have, like some shows have 30 people
Yeah.
off camera doing
Yeah.
stuff, where literally it's just us.
The four of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we became really close, and then at one point, I think it was Jamaica, Zach got an EVP. We were in Johnny Cash's
Johnny
house.
Cash. I remember that episode.
And we were on the next shoot, I think somewhere in Arizona, we're driving, and Zach's like, hey, I got this EVP on the last episode, what do you think? And he played it for me. He's like, do you think that sounds like Johnny Cash? And I was like, yeah, And you hear Zach, he's like, do you like Johnny Cash's music? And you hear this big, like, yeah. And I was
Wow.
like, yeah, that sounds like him. I was like, you can actually do voice analysis, put it in the computer,
Yeah.
you could do all this. And he's like, really? Like,
You can do
he's like,
that.
"You can do that?" I'm like, yeah, like, that's kind of,
That's
I'm a
so
techie
cool. Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
So he's like, great, you can do that. We'll have you do it on camera. And he pulled me in, and that was my first actual
On
appearance
camera.
the show.
Yeah.
Which, ironically, earlier in the episode, we went to an impromptu soccer game against the Jamaicans.
I do. Yeah, I remember the part.
And then, so they actually pulled me in to do that, which I just got to say, if anyone saw that, about a month earlier, I broke my ankle skateboarding at the Winchester Mystery House.
You were skateboarding at the Mystery.
Well, I used to bring my skateboard with me on the road
Yeah.
in the early days, and I was just killing time skateboarding, and I just messed up and totally broke my ankle 90 degrees sideways. And then, so about a month after that was when we were in Jamaica, and it was it was the first time where I'm like, oh, I could walk, I could put weight on it, and then they're like, hey, play soccer.
Okay.
So of course, and I was like, oh, it's my first time on the show, and I'm like, running like crazy.
Oh my God. Well, that's really. See, I don't. That's something I don't think a lot of people knew. Like, because I was always curious, like how does everybody meet?
Right.
Like I talked a little bit when we were on set on the episode for my thing with you guys. I was talking to Billy like a little bit.
Right.
Like, did you meet Billy? Was Billy already part of the thing here in town?
Yeah, Billy, I think, he would know his story a lot better than I
Yeah.
would, but I know
I'm hoping to get him on too.
Yeah,
eventually.
he'd be great.
Yeah.
He started a little bit before, and I think he was fans of the guys and just kind of reached out to him.
Yeah.
Was like, hey, I love what you guys are doing, and I'm an audio guy, and I want to get into the paranormal.
Yeah.
And then Zach was like, hey, cool, let's hang out, let's meet up, and kind of the rest was history from there.
That's really cool.
Right.
So here's the thing. So when you first started, how were you a believer in the paranormal, or were you skeptical? Were you on the fence? Like, I maybe something,
Yeah, I 100% believed.
Yeah.
But I was still skeptical at the
Yeah.
same time.
Because when you watch the show,
Right, yeah.
People who watch the show at home, I get it all the time from friends, especially a lot of my magic friends. They're like, it's all bullshit. I'm like, well, I'll tell you for a fact. I did one.
Yeah.
I did a thing, and I can tell you what was aired was exactly what we did.
Exactly.
Like, you were there, and I remember you were kind of behind me when we were going in that hallway, and the camera got jammed up into your face, and you were like, and I remember I turned around and you're like, the camera just got yanked on, and I'm like, what? And it's like, there's no cables or anything.
Exactly.
You're walking in, and I was like, oh wow. And then Aaron's phone going off in his
That was
pocket.
crazy, saying all that
So
stuff.
you want to know a funny story about that? Fast forward to about a couple of days before the episode aired. So we shot that, and then it didn't air until like
it's usually a few months later.
Yeah, months later. 2 days before that episode aired, a lady during my show in the museum was standing in front of me, and her Apple Watch lights up, and she looked at it weird. And I was like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? She's like, look. And it said, did you accidentally summon me, on her Apple Watch.
Wow.
And I didn't even tell the story. I didn't even tell the story about me being on the episode.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing.
Right.
And I'm like, what are the chances of that saying that
That's
while I'm
wild.
there?
Yeah.
It was really bizarre.
That makes me, back to what you said, how, we all kind of met, and I always feel, we always feel, and we talk about this, there's, something else that I feel has brought us all together.
Yeah.
We've all kind of come from different areas and different, and even today, we have different personalities, we have different styles, but when the four of us are together, the energy we create together and the way we work together is, it's magical.
It makes good TV.
Yeah.
And you can tell. You can tell that you guys all hang out, and it's like it's not like, okay, here's this guy, here's this, and you guys all live in different places, and you don't ever see each other socially and all that kind of stuff. Because it does make a difference, I think.
Absolutely.
With the synergy and stuff on a show, absolutely.
Yeah, and as much time as we spend together on the road, because we don't take breaks either. You know, a lot of shows, the setup for filming most shows, you'll shoot a season,
Yeah.
maybe for 1 or 2 months, and then you're down for a few months.
Yeah.
Where we don't. We've been shooting consistently, just
Yeah.
about 2 episodes every month for 12 years now, something like that.
Oh, we're gonna just to let you guys know. I just got reminded by my producer. You guys, as you can see, the phone line is up 702-660-7666. You want to call in, ask questions for Jay. If you guys had any questions about Ghost Adventures or anything like that, or if you're
That is my personal phone number, so.
that's your personal phone number. I'm going to send you some dick pics now. If you guys want to talk to him, even ask techie questions. He is before the show. He was talking with my producer Aaron, and they were talking about stuff I had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah, when the sound went out earlier, when we were starting,
Yeah.
I was like, my initial reaction was to jump over.
Jump
there
over and
be
then like start pulling stuff
Start
apart.
figuring out what's going on.
But guys, call in 702-660-7666. So one of the questions I really wanted to ask you. So when you're doing the show, you're like in the nerve center stuff. That's your initial part of the thing. You're not really like on camera very much. What was the first time something happened to you on the show, and did they catch that on camera? Were there cameras in there with you at that particular time? I know there are now. Stuff is set up when you guys are in there, but back in the beginnings, was that a thing?
Yeah, we always would have cameras on the nerve center.
Just in case.
Right, that's the thing with the show. What you see is what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we would have a nerve center with no cameras. If there's something that's going on, if we're there, if we have guests, if we have anything, like it's filmed, it's included, it's part of.
Yeah.
You'll see it. You know what I mean? And I honestly can't remember what the first thing was. I mean, at this point, there's been so many.
There's been so many. Oh, we got a caller. All right. Hey, guys. We're going to take the first caller. Welcome to the show. This is After Dark. This is John Shaw and Jay Wasley. What's your question?
Oh, wow. Thought I had the wrong number.
No, you got the right number.
Would you like to place an order?
Sorry. I wasn't expecting this.
Pork fried rice.
I just wanted to know, how long has Jay actually been on the show? Because I know he was on there previously before it actually, he was showed on the show.
I've been working on the show for 10 years now, and I probably started being on camera, I guess, it was probably about a year after I started, roughly.
That's pretty quick.
Say about 9 years, and then it was kind of off and on at first, and then I would say full-time pretty much every episode, 7 years.
Wow.
Maybe, something like that.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw you guys say something about the Winchester house.
Oh, yeah.
Was that your first episode?
No, it was just an episode where I broke my ankle. My first episode was Return to Goldfield back in 2010, I think it was.
Wow.
Oh, that was when the skateboarding incident happened.
He decided he was going to be Tony
Yeah,
Hawk.
that's when my skateboarding career ended.
They're
And
like,
I'm sorry,
okay.
you may have already answered this. Were you friends with the guys before?
No, I met
You
them
became
through the
part
show.
of the show?
Yeah, I met them through the show once I started working with them.
Oh. Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you. Thanks for. What's your name, my
I really
dear?
thought I had the wrong number.
No,
My name
no.
is Melissa.
Melissa, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And continue
I love
watching.
you, Jay. I love
Thank
the
you,
show.
appreciate it.
My show's okay if you want to watch again.
I've heard of it.
Oh, we got another call. All right. Hey, man. Here's the thing. We don't get a lot of calls, and I'm very excited that we're getting calls because this is new for us.
Right? Your phone bill's going to go up.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's not mine. It's his. I don't
that's
care.
all right, then.
So, all right. You're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Alicia. I'm from Phoenix. I was calling. I'm a huge fan of Ghost Adventures of Zach's Museum, so I thought I'd give you guys a call and say, hey, how's it going? And I have a couple questions, or a question for you here, Jay.
All right.
So I was curious. How did you view the paranormal growing up? Did you experience anything? Did you have was your house haunted or anything like that?
I was always into it. There's probably a lot of stories from that. Ever since I was a kid, I was always into it. My parents, I feel very fortunate that when I grew up, my parents were not forcing any certain type of belief systems on me. They kind of let me explore what I was into and different things. And I was very into different things, and I would study different religions, different ways of thinking, different beliefs. And then as a kid, I would go out and try to explore it, play Ouija boards and do weird things in the woods, just seeing what would happen, which I don't recommend to anybody, but you're a kid and I've always been curious and kind of figuring out what the unknown is, so it's always kind of stuck with me. And then as you grow up, you kind of stray away from it a little bit, real life kicks in, and then it was kind of amazing when the show came about and I started working on the show. It was just like I was right back into it, and it kind of fit perfectly, and now I get to do it for a job, and it's amazing.
I envy your job.
Thank you.
But just because I'm saying, paranormal all through my life. So one more question, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Can you explain your first ghost experience?
Well, I don't know what my first
the
was.
first time you've seen a ghost?
I mean, I remember one of my earliest memories was probably somewhere maybe around 8th grade or so in middle school, and I remember being chased through the woods by something. It wasn't an animal. It was tall. It was like creature, like an elemental or some kind of something. And I was out there with some friends, and we were just kind of
playing around.
Yeah, just playing around.
And then all of a sudden something.
And then all of a sudden this
happened. Was it like a shadow kind of thing?
Yeah, it was getting dark. Like the sun just started going down, so you can still see a little bit, but it was dark, and we all saw it. We could hear it. Like it had this like snarly breathing.
Really?
And it definitely wasn't an
so
animal.
So all your friends, it wasn't
tall.
just you that saw.
Right, exactly.
Really freaked you out at that age.
Yeah, so that really freaked me out. And then another story I like to tell, probably around 18 years old, I was playing the Ouija board. I was playing in a band at the time, and we finished band practice. And we're like, all right, let's do the Ouija board tonight. But let's go all out. We really want to experience something.
Yeah.
So we lit candles, we had incense, I had a dagger, we had a dish of water, anything ritualistic we could think of, we put out because we really wanted to experience something.
See if something would happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're doing the Ouija board, and all of a sudden I started noticing the incense starts blowing over to this dagger. And I was like, all right, that's kind of weird, whatever. And then we're supposedly talking to this boy, and it kept saying its name was Z. Which
just the letter Z.
Just the letter Z, which later on, I kind of put things together in an episode. But then I would move the dagger, and the incense would change.
Really?
Back to
so it kept kind of following it no matter.
So I was like, all right, this is weird. And then I kept moving the dagger all over the place, and I was like, every time I did it, the incense would change and blow to the dagger. So I was like, all right. And I asked this supposed little boy spirit, are you attracted to the dagger? And it said yes.
Wow.
And then I asked probably the stupidest question I ever asked in my life. I said, can you come through the dagger into us?
Oh.
And it said yes.
Oh.
So we all stopped. We're like, oh, man. All right. All right. Like,
so you got the answer you wanted, and then you're like, oh,
like,
shit, now what are we doing here?
We're like, no.
Like, do we have to stab each other?
Like, this is what we want. This is what we want to do. We want to experience. So we're like, all right. So we decide, me and my one buddy, we're like, we'll both hold the dagger. It's in a sheath.
Yeah.
So we were going to both hold the dagger and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking nothing will happen.
Yeah.
So we lay down. We're holding the dagger.
The dagger, yeah.
All of a sudden, we're like, okay, you can come into us, and I just got overwhelmed sadness. It's like the only thing I can explain it, like from head to toe, like feeling of sadness in your feet even. Like, it's really weird.
Yeah.
My buddy jumps up, puts his knees on my shoulders, and he's trying to pull the dagger out of the sheath. The breaks open, because you have to like, press a button. It actually breaks open, and he pushes it towards my throat.
Oh.
And so I'm on the ground. You got to picture this. I'm shaking, holding him back as hard as I can, and the dagger's like past my chin, right at my throat.
Oh, wow.
And he has the advantage because
he's got
above
the
me and pushing down.
On top of you,
And he's just staring at me wide-eyed, and all of a sudden he just stops. He goes limp. He starts full crying, and he had no idea what happened. Or what was going on.
He doesn't remember any of the thing that led up into that moment. Wow. Did you stay friends with that guy afterwards?
For a little bit. I think the band ended up breaking up not too long after that. And I remember he was even saying, like, I remember seeing him for a couple weeks after, and he's like, I think something's at my house. And,
really?
And I was like, oh, man, that
shit.
Sucks. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you see stuff in movies, and then all of a sudden stuff happens in real life, and you're like, oh.
Right, exactly.
It's not in a movie anymore.
Yeah, so that those are probably two of my craziest early memories of paranormal experiences.
That's crazy. Well, thank you so much for calling in. We do appreciate it. And thank you for watching the show, and I hope you tune in again, because we're going to have other cool people.
Yeah, definitely. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my God. So let's get into, like, what was your most terrifying experience that you personally had on the show so far?
I mean,
the one that, like, stands out.
Yeah, there's definitely a few. I think probably one of the one was in a place in Prescott, Arizona.
Okay.
It was called, was it the Palace Saloon, I want to say, but it was in Prescott, Arizona. It was like an old saloon.
Yeah.
And basically, they were saying that this evil entity would torment the workers at this saloon.
Yeah.
And they all thought it was coming out of this crawl space that was down in the basement. So during lockdown, I went down and I was sent into the crawl space by myself, and I'm crawling around and. I'm on my belly, crawling around, going through, and nothing was really happening. I'm trying to call it out, nothing's happening. So I was kind of trying to provoke a little bit. If you're this,
if you're this omnipotent being, come do something.
Say with provoking, we don't always provoke. We probably did more earlier on, but as we learned and what works and what doesn't, trying to be more respectful. But I still feel provoking is important, especially if it's a bully spirit, if it's something that's harming people.
Yeah, like scratching or shoving.
It's like real life. If there's a bully, I'm not going to just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to stand up to him.
Yeah.
So I started calling it out and doing all this, and I'm on my belly, have the camera held out in front of me. Something grabs my leg. I start kind of kicking, and it drags me backwards.
Do you remember how far?
I would say a few feet.
Really? That hard?
Oh, yeah.
Could you feel like a hand? You could feel. Was it grabbing like the pants, or was it
kinda
like around the
on
ankle?
the leg, and it kind of grabbed, and I was like kicking at first. And trying to it just felt like someone was grabbing me.
It felt like somebody was definitely.
So I got a couple kicks in, and then it pulled me backwards. But the thing was, I'm deep in there. There's no way someone could just reach in.
They wouldn't have the. I mean, to pull a full-grown human.
Right. It would be
on their belly,
too. Probably like a good 20, 30 feet in.
You would kind of probably have heard somebody crawling behind you.
You wouldn't be able to sneak up on anybody.
Yeah, and then did anything actually show up in the camera at all? Did you catch anything?
I mean, you see me get drugged back.
Yeah, you just see you go slide back. Yeah.
And then, of course, I freaked out, but you're in a crawl space, so you can't really just get up and run away. Yeah. You can't just go outside.
You got to back out or keep going.
I kind of freaked out. I yelled, and I remember Aaron came running, and I saw him way at the opening with his flashlight, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm alright. I don't like." It kind of takes a while to process what just happened.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure what happened, but I got to get out of here, and I made my way over, and I was like, all right, like that was just a crazy experience.
Yeah.
And, this place is haunted. Check.
This is legit.
Right.
Yeah. So I imagine like so family and friends and stuff like that. Do they ever question like all right, so like how much of this is really real? Do you get that anymore? I mean, did you have it in the beginning at all?
No, not really. No. I mean, I think everyone's been supportive, and like my family, like my mom, I think she comes from a bit of a spiritual family that was open to hauntings and ghosts, so she's all about it. I think my dad probably doesn't believe it. He's more of an engineer, so he's just a very
very mechanical. There's a good reason for something dragging you backwards
so
in a crawl space.
Exactly. I was like, all right, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
and I'm open to it.
Yeah,
if there is.
I mean, if it was one of the guys or somebody playing a goof on you, that's all well and good. But it's like, I'm in there alone.
Right. Exactly.
And for someone to get in there and to be able to pull you, a full-grown adult, backwards while you're on the ground. That's not an easy thing to do standing up.
And if there is a way, if there was an explanation, if there is an explanation, I would love to hear it because it'll help me sleep better at night.
Yeah, because I mean, do you have nightmares about some of this?
Sometimes, yeah.
Like, what's the one, like, do you have one that's like...
I honestly don't remember. Like, I don't have any kind of reoccurring nightmares. But I definitely wake up and have panic attacks at times. I suffer from panic attacks at times.
Yeah.
Definitely...
Was that... Did you have any of that stuff prior to?
No, the first time I ever had a panic attack was actually we were filming at David Omen's house in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So it was on an episode.
Really?
Luckily, right after filming, I got back to the hotel and just went into it.
Really?
And
it just
kind of out, had no idea what was going on.
Wow.
And, kind of pushed through and eventually just fell asleep and woke up the next day, researched, and was like, oh, I had a panic attack. And,
wow.
Yeah, so I mean,
that's
the thing, like, which with the show, a lot of people don't realize, like, it's not just a show.
The show,
it is our lives.
Yeah.
Like, we go out there every other week doing this, but it's our lives. Like, we're dedicated to it. We're passionate about it, all of us, and it affects our personal lives. It affects us.
That's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, sometimes this stuff goes home.
Oh yeah.
With absolutely. You, have you had anything just happen at your like after you do a thing, you go on
I think it's calmed down because I think over the years I've learned to kind of separate myself.
Yeah.
In a sense, leave work at the office.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like when we're there, we want to open up. You want to kind of call it out. You want to experience it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be closed off. But then I've kind of learned how to be able to close off when I go home. But there were plenty of times where like I would have friends over and they see things. I remember. When I was living in Nashville, that house seemed to have a lot.
Well, Nashville's old too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
in that house, I would have like guitars go flying off the wall.
Really?
There was one spare bedroom, and every time someone stayed over, they would say they would wake up in the middle of the night, and there would be a lady standing at the foot of the bed, things like that. So yeah.
It's like, look what you did.
Right. Exactly.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. So you're a big techie guy. So for those of you guys out there, also if you guys look at the phone number, it's on 702-660-7666. Please call in. Phone lines are open right now, so call in, guys, if you have questions. What's your favorite type of equipment that you use for the show?
I think for investigating, I think first my favorite is your own body itself.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people look past that. And I think that's the thing. I think every human is capable of doing this stuff, is in tune with these things, but we lose that as we get older, as real world kicks in.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of lose that connection to that kind of stuff. So I think trusting your own instincts, trusting your body, you start feeling things, you get the goosebumps, you can kind of feel it, and then you can pull out equipment and then
To test if you're feeling
and then
it
you
for
back
real.
up what you're feeling, which is amazing.
That's awesome. So we got a caller online. What's your name? And you're on the air.
My name's Jonathan Dubos. I've been watching the show for a long time. I'm an artist, you know. I make stuff. I have a lot of time on my hands. Dude, I got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question about demons and how I think that, I mean, it's more of a insight maybe, or, you know, just like a question really. My thought is like, what if these demons, if some might be demons, or what if some are like children that, you know, without any parental guidance, nothing to stop them from doing, you know, bad. So what they do is they scratch, you know, and they do all these heinous things that you would think, you know, in our realm a demon would do. But really, maybe they're just young, unguided spirits causing these troubles.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and that does I can see that being a thing. And I think, you know, what demons are, and I don't think everything necessarily is a demon. I think it can be just evil spirits that could be
just
were human at
angry
one time,
people,
which are either children that are, you know, I think they would be pretty aggressive, and you know, it depends on like at what level do you categorize? All right, now it's becoming a demon.
Yeah.
Like how evil, how
I mean, if you have an
Right,
upset
but like
kid,
like the simple like scratches here and there, you know,
Right.
stuff like that. That sounds like a child.
I mean, either way, it's
Something
scary.
that
Right.
I throw you up against the wall. Okay, yeah, I kicked in.
Right. Yeah.
I don't agree
I mean,
with
yeah.
that.
I mean, honestly, you know, no one I think knows 100%, and I
No,
love
no,
that's
yeah.
what part of my love for all this is that we get to explore these things. We get to explore different theories, different ideas, and keep trying different ways of approaching things.
because in a different realm of reality, I mean, in a spiritual
Yeah,
realm,
exactly.
this child would have been a normal child in life. You don't know what kind of abilities they have now.
And
Like
it could just be a little brat. you
Yeah,
know,
it could just be a little
And, you
shithead.
know, and I have a child that gets bored myself, and she does some crazy crap when she gets bored.
She's
Right.
possessed,
maybe when
guaranteed.
all these kids go to like really bored, they're just
Right.
like, well, I'm gonna do this because I can, and mom and dad ain't gonna tell me no, so
Right.
why not? I'm bored.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that could be a possibility in some cases, you know, like, and even, you know, a child or even just an adult, it's like, hey, if you're aware you're dead now and you're conscious of it, and you're like, oh, I could do whatever I want now. Like, there's people out there, unfortunately,
Exactly. You know what?
that
I got
will
time on my
try some crazy shit.
That's great. Well, thank you for calling in, my friend, and I hope you guys,
thanks
I hope
for
you tune back in
Thanks,
again
man.
and
Appreciate
keep
it.
watching the show. We appreciate it.
Uh,
Thanks, man.
No problem, guys.
So on the show, what is your favorite piece of like tech equipment that like you get to use? What's your favorite thing for capturing like evidence and stuff?
Probably one of them is the SLS camera, which is a structure light sensor.
Yes.
And basically the way that works, it shoots out a grid of infrared laser beams.
Yeah.
And it basically maps out. So you get this 3D imaging system, and it shows up on the screen.
And you get the, like the little stick figure
Right.
thing. For those guys who watch the show, if you guys see them and they get the little stick figure
Right.
action, it's
Exactly.
that's what it is.
And it's cool because like we've done it where like you could see it, but that's another thing about trusting your body. Like we'll have moments where like, oh, like this room right now, there's something going on.
Yeah.
And we'll take out that device, and all of a sudden we see a figure.
You see it.
And then that's mind blowing enough.
Yeah.
Let alone when we say, oh, hi, can you wave to us? And then you see
does.
the figure's hand move.
And you're sitting there in the dark.
Exactly.
And you're looking, and you're like, I don't
Right.
see anything.
So not only is this thing manifesting, it's there, it's
But
actually interacting
and it
with
hears
us as
you.
well.
I
Exactly.
mean, I mean, it's just such a weird thing because I've thought about like when you die, like that's it, and like, but what if you're still hanging around and you see all these people, like right now in this very room,
Right.
there could be something
Oh,
here.
yeah, we could be
We can't
surrounded.
see it. It's trying to get our attention.
Exactly.
But nothing. It's going. I see you all the time, and you talk to us.
Yeah.
Why aren't you talking to us
I
now?
think that's the thing that always blows my mind is that the idea of like we've kind of put hauntings into two categories. There's like residual,
Yeah.
which is, that makes 100% sense to me because we're all energy. We all have an energy source. So imagine you walk down the same hallway every day of your life and you die.
You print that energy.
Right. So who's not to say a little bit of energy still lingers back and forth, and under the right circumstances, the right variables, with the right mindset, the right equipment, you can capture some of that energy. That makes sense. But then when that energy, when you ask questions or ask it to do things and it does it on command, or you get responses that are actually
in the moment, in the real-time moment.
That takes it to a whole nother level where it's like, wow, this is actually intelligent haunting.
Yeah. And that's got to be freaky.
Oh yeah, that's the part that probably freaks me out the most.
Yeah, because you're looking at that screen and you're like, I can see this,
right? Exactly.
And it can see me obviously, and it can hear me,
right?
And holy shit, now what do I do with it?
Yeah, and I always wonder, like, do we look like ghosts to them?
Yeah,
that is what do they think we are?
Do they? Because I mean, a lot of times you always hear the hauntings. It's like it's a girl in a white dress, or it's always someone in like old clothes. Like when you die, do you reappear in the clothing that you died in?
Maybe.
Like I know that's a meme. It's an actual meme, and I thought I've seen that. And I saw the meme, and I thought that was really funny. I'm like, man, is that true?
Right.
Like
it's an interesting thing, or maybe it's like a manifestation of the mind to make you, obviously physically, even physically your body's not there.
Yeah.
So it's more of a mental, spiritual projection or energy in that sense. So it could be whatever you want it to be.
Wow.
So I imagine, if you're a nudist and you live your whole life and you love being nude, I think when you die, you might be a naked
come
ghost.
back as a nudist. There's a friend of mine actually in the studio sitting over here, and her and her husband made an SLS camera.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we used it when Zach had that motel.
Oh, right.
And we did the investigation in there. We went in there and we were in the laundry room, and we're sitting in there messing around, and sure enough, boop, a thing pops up over against the wall, and when I would move towards it, you saw it move away.
Jump back.
Yeah, and then
cool.
when I would be more aggressive towards it, it started like vibrating.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Right. Yeah, it's the interaction.
Yeah, it was really weird. Because I'm like, holy shit, look at that. But I didn't feel anything. Yeah. I didn't hear anything. But I'm watching the screen. I'm like, well, I can see it. Yeah. And I would say, do this, and it did. And I'm like, well, that's fucking weird.
Right. I think one of the coolest, we actually got an entire band once on the SLS.
Really?
Yeah. It was this old prison in Arizona, and it was. I'm serious. It was crazy. Like, we're in a section of the jail where they would do performances on a little stage. You saw multiple figures. There's one that's like going like this, like he's playing guitar. There's one going like this, like they're playing drums, and there's one that's like going like this, like singing.
Wow.
So we're just watching this, just cracking up.
And you're just going, I can't believe this is really happening.
This is amazing. And then they kind of stop.
Yeah.
We all applaud, and we're like, thank you, thank you. They take a bow. And then they disappear.
Yeah.
Wow. It was mind-blowing.
Yeah. Because you can't make that shit up.
No.
I mean, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, I did the show, and I went out, being a magician and stuff, you're always kind of looking for the trick.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to watch. I'm going to pay attention and just watch. And I was there, and I saw everything that was happening, and there was nothing hokey about what we experienced. Like it was going, and what was aired when it aired, I'm like, nope, that's exactly what happened. I was there. I can tell you for a fact that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it is.
And
it's literally just the four of us going around documenting,
like in real time,
this literal adventure.
I mean, the phone went off and he pulled it out, and it was right when I was talking about something, and I'm like, and it was a summoning thing, and I'm like, well, that's really weird.
Yeah.
But then when it happened at the museum,
that even
right
takes
before
it to another level,
before the show, that's when I was like, and cause nobody would know that. It was only the four of us in that room and myself. So it was
which is crazy to think, because like, to me that shows that what we do and all this stuff goes even farther than we even realize.
Yeah.
Even like broadcasting this stuff, I'll see things from fans that are like, oh, I'm watching the episode and all of a sudden my lights go off and this happens or this starts happening, and people's homes seem to get active when they're watching an episode, things like that.
Because you think because if it's energy and it can use energy, because obviously batteries and stuff do die during the course of when you guys are doing stuff. I mean, how many batteries do you guys bring? I remember
we have tons of them.
I remember when I pulled up, I saw
this
this table and the ground just littered with boxes and boxes of batteries.
We change them every time before an investigation. Everything's brand new, fresh. And literally we'll walk in, be full battery, 10 minutes in, we're getting activity, all of a sudden it just dies.
Just gone. Gone.
And then usually after that happens, the intensity picks up. Because a lot of time, in theory, we think that it actually draws the energy to help itself manifest.
Wow.
from that.
That's really
Yeah.
awesome.
And another weird thing was actually last week, it was our season premiere.
Yeah.
And apparently we found out that like half of the country's audio didn't work
I remember seeing
just on
that.
our
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to say that
That's what it
but
is.
it's just
but
another one of those
it's
things.
just a weird
that
coincidence.
You know,
Well, that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, because Zach will post video from the museum online, through his Twitter and whatnot,
Right.
and like people will see it. And there was a time I was given a show, and this orb comes out and goes by this dude's head, and he jumped back and grabbed his head at that exact moment.
Yeah.
Now I was doing the show live, and I saw what happened. There was 4 people in that room,
Right.
and I was like, and he was a non-believer,
Yeah.
completely non-believer,
Right.
but he said he felt a hand on the back of his
Oh,
head
wow.
and the fingers going through
Yeah.
the back of his hair. And I'm like, oh, so I was like, hey, I wrote down the time. We went back in, and boom, sure enough, I was in there
You
with
could see
Bacon,
it.
and
Right.
Bacon pulled it up, and
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
holy shit.
Right.
I'm like, look at that.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's a thing. And I'm like, that's a
Right.
thing.
that's what I'm talking about, like the importance of having multiple, I guess, measurements or multiple
Yeah.
things. Like when you have that experience, but then now to be able to look on a camera and see the
To
anomaly.
verify, like,
Right.
all right, because here's the thing, I believe in, like, okay, that could be a reflection, a coincidence,
Right.
whatever, blah blah blah. But there's no way something like that can be. The chances, the numbers are ridiculous. The
Right.
percentage is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It just couldn't happen.
Exactly.
Like that's the only time a flare happens
Right.
at that exact
Yeah,
time.
out of hours of the day.
Out of all the hours
Yeah.
that I'm in there, and I'm in there like 8, 9, 10 hours a day,
Right.
and you're telling me that that's it, and that's the only time it happened,
Right.
and the guy happened to react at the exact time it goes by his
Yeah.
head, like
Right.
that's just not, it's not probable.
Exactly.
It's not probable. I don't know what it is, but I know
Right.
it's very
Yeah.
weird. I don't know what it is, but I know it's weird.
Exactly.
And that's it's crazy. More and more I've been there, like every day. Sometimes nothing happens. I'll go
Right.
days and days, nothing will go on, and then some days, man, it just picks
just
up,
wakes
and
up.
people start freaking out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit! I wish I had something in here right now to
Right.
test this.
Yeah.
What's so far? Actually, I do want to go one more equipment question. How much equipment do you guys bring on a thing? I mean, because stuff breaks, stuff. You
Right,
you
yeah.
gotta. I imagine you guys have backups for stuff just
Yeah,
in case.
we do, and some stuff, I mean, unfortunately, some stuff are one of a kind. Like,
Yeah.
we'll have different engineers that make things for
Yeah.
us, like particular unique pieces of gear for us to try out and test with. TSA isn't the most friendly with
Yeah.
luggage and stuff, so we actually start driving a lot of that stuff
Yeah.
out now, just because so much stuff's broken over the years.
Really, I can imagine. Yeah,
Like, literally
because they
one-of-a-kind
pull it
pieces.
apart and they're
Right.
like, "What does that do?"
Right.
And then
You're like,
and-
oh, that's not a radio or a
yeah,
laptop.
they're
What
like,
is
"Oh, this is something else," and then they break it. And
Right.
like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, we get it. Knobs are all broken
Yeah.
off. And everything. You know,
They don't hire
I
the
get it,
the best
yeah.
people there. I've
You know,
noticed.
I get it. It's weird. You might not know what it is.
Yeah, but you should ask.
But yes, I mean, just that. So I'm not sure exactly, but I remember one of the last counts, probably like 40-something cases worth of equipment. You know,
jeez.
that's
It's a lot of
probably,
stuff.
you know, with cameras as well and
Yeah.
some lights and things like that. But I mean, it's just, and we're always growing too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like we have, you know, the one set of equipment and that's it. You
Yeah.
know, we always, every episode, actually, we try to come up with new ideas. We try to think outside of the box,
Yeah.
different ways of approaching things.
Because
You know,
you've done some rituals on the
Yeah.
show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think it was a Goatman's
yeah,
Bridge.
Joe Man's Bridge.
You
was
did
a
a
big
you
one.
did a thing, and they blanked that out.
Right.
Now, what was it? Is it because they didn't want? Were they afraid of people like using it?
I
or-
guess it's that. I guess it's. I would say probably two things. One, you know, you don't want just anybody playing around with this
Yeah.
stuff. And like,
Now, this was something that you personally researched.
right, exactly. So one, you don't want people just doing that. You don't want, if there's a kid watching, you don't want them just to start reciting this stuff.
So, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like a lot of people, I think, can conjure things, but they do it by accident. They don't
Yeah.
even aware of what they're doing, and then all of a sudden things happen. So it was one for that, and then you know, two, I think it's kind of like we were talking about earlier about what happens if you project that over the airwaves.
Yeah.
You know, who's,
Can
you
it
know,
send? Can you send it
right
into
exactly.
someone's house?
And we've done experiments through FaceTime, through Skype, through phone calls, through Bluetooth, like different things, and we've gotten things where stuff has actually traveled through from one location to another.
yeah.
You know,
What's
so-
been your favorite piece of evidence that you've been involved that you've
Right.
seen since you've been on the show?
I think one of them was probably at the Goldfield Hotel, actually. Not the first time I was there, but the second time. I was watching a nerve center, had a camera on for, I don't even know how long, a long
Yeah.
time. You could see on camera there's a rock sitting in the
Yeah.
camera all day long, just
Yeah.
sitting there. All of a sudden, Zach's at the end of the hallway.
Yeah.
This rock lifts up off the ground, goes flying
towards
all the
it.
way down the hallway and hits him in the foot.
Wow.
And like I saw it happen in real time.
saw it live, and you're like
and
going-
I was just like, how is that possible? You know, we took that to a special effects artist.
Yeah.
We took it to a physics professor. Like
Yeah.
all this stuff to try to debunk it. And
Yeah.
it's like you can't.
It's
There's
just that
no
thing,
idea.
just that move.
Yeah,
I
that
saw
blew
it.
my mind.
We have somebody on the line. What's your name? You're on the air.
Aaron?
Aaron? Your name's Aaron?
Yep.
Hi, Aaron.
Yep.
Welcome to the show.
How
You,
you doing?
you have a question for
Thank
Jay?
you. I do. I live in Michigan, outside Detroit, and I just wondered if the Ghost Adventures gang had ever thought about checking out Eloise Asylum. It's an old, closed-down asylum over there, and I know Dakota and his gang did. I've been there. We have spirits in our home, and I've lived with them my entire life. And that was a cool experience when we did that.
Nice. I'll definitely have to check that. I think with our
Yep.
show too, a lot of the times we're very spur of the moment. Wherever we're in the moment, even the way we film the show, like we go and we don't have things planned. We just go with it and just literally document what happens. And it's kind of the same with locations. We don't really book too far ahead. Sometimes we just kind of focus one spot at a time. But we have lists and everything. We always write down and we always remember things. And when we're heading in that part of the country, we always look up different spots. So it's always good to know. And a lot of fans always send us places. And, why haven't you come here or that? And it's like, well, there's so many, honestly.
Yeah,
There's so
yeah.
many spots. But we do notice it. We do take note of it. We write it down. We have researchers. Sometimes we pass it along to them just to
Yeah.
kind of file as places in that part of the country, things like that.
People can write into like Twitter and stuff like,
Yeah.
hey man.
Yeah.
So if you want, you can actually go online, and I'm sure you can Ghost Adventures Twitter page. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
go in because I know Zach reads all that stuff
Oh, yeah.
because I've seen
Yeah,
him.
we all do
respond to
read
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to respond to everybody because
Yeah.
we do get a lot.
Yeah.
But I always try to look at everybody because I do, respect the fans. And I think, honestly, without the amazing fans, we wouldn't be able to do what we do at the level we do.
Yeah.
It keeps us
Yeah,
going. It
I'm
keeps the
not
show
a-
going. And I, can never thank the fans enough for the support.
Yeah, I'm not on Twitter, but I am on Facebook.
Okay.
There you go. That's
And
it.
I have sent messages to like Zach or whoever, Aaron, I think, and I never heard anything back.
you
But
said,
that is,
don't-
it's a well-known,
Nice.
very haunted old asylum.
Yeah, definitely keep
And
that in mind.
When
and-
we were there, I got this in a photo. I saw with my eyes a white, just a streak of light shoot past me, and I caught the edge of it in one of my pictures. There were shadows by walls.
Very cool.
my-
Sounds like a good
my
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm,
my niece was with us. She got a shadow figure on one of her pictures.
Just be careful out there when you're
Yeah.
investigating.
Oh, I know. I never provoke. Never provoke.
That's
Well,
good.
thank you so much,
Try to
Aaron, for
talk to
calling
him.
in. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Be safe
Thank you
out
very
there.
Very
much.
nice. Thank you so much. All right. So here's an interesting. So I asked this of people who have a big fan base. What's been your weirdest fan encounter? Have you had one of those encounters where you're like, whoa, that was a little much?
Fortunately, not too much.
No.
I think most of the people we meet are really nice.
Yeah.
And,
Are very. I mean, obviously people are
right.
into this stuff.
They're
Are
very
enthusiastic.
or they're very shy sometimes
Yeah.
too. And
Because you guys did Comic-Con,
right.
and how was that?
Oh, that was
That had to be great,
insane.
right?
It was
So I
amazing.
did watch. I watched a little bit of the video you guys put up, and
Yeah, I felt bad because they had people lined up, beforehand, and
Yeah.
they can only fit so many people.
In that
and
room.
they hit max capacity,
Wow.
and there was still a line wrapped
Wow.
around. And
I think maybe they underestimated
Right,
the
yeah.
amount of fans that the show
Right,
has. I mean,
yeah.
the show has been the #1 show on the Travel Channel for like 10 years straight.
I think
now,
I
right?
don't know, I don't know the
At
exact
least?
numbers, but I know it's definitely been
Yeah.
number one for the last few years
Yeah.
at least, and we keep going strong.
I think, yeah. I mean, it is a great show. If you're into paranormal shows, I really I don't think anyone out there right now that has a bigger show than this, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I mean, I watch a lot of weird shit.
So I appreciate that.
I'm always looking for stuff. Well, that was a weird thing. Like I discovered the show many, many years ago, and it was just kind of bizarre. It was funny. I related this story to Zach, and you were talking about how everybody comes together. So right before we're standing at the mouth to that haunted house that we went in,
Okay, yeah.
and he and I are standing there, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, 3 years ago, I was laying in a hospital room, suffering from pancreatitis,
Oh, yeah.
and I almost died. And then Ghost Adventures was on, and I was hallucinating so much
Right.
that stuff was crawling out of the screen and into the room with
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And then here I am about to walk into an investigation with
Right.
you.
That's awesome.
I was like, that's weird.
Right, that
He
is
was like,
weird.
that
It's
is
crazy.
weird.
It happens that way. And
Yeah.
I hear that a lot of people, and even fans, that'll be like, oh, like the show brings my family together.
Yeah.
You know, like parents and kids that might not watch TV together, but they
But
love,
they get
love
together
the
for
show,
that.
and they get together, you know, every, you know, now Thursday nights, and they watch the show together. And, you know, it's just always cool to hear those, how it brings people together.
So now this is another question I like to ask. This is off of the paranormal thing, but what's your feeling? Are you a UFO aliens believer?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think, personally, I don't want to say I don't think that there's not aliens out there.
Yeah.
But what we think of the most common alien, like the gray alien,
Yeah.
is actually human beings from the future that are actually time traveling.
It was odd that you said that because I've been looking into that more recently.
Yeah.
I remember reading a story and somebody talked about that. I'm like, that's a really interesting theory,
Yeah.
and why wouldn't that be
Right,
possible?
and it makes sense if, you know, I remember I took a bunch of anatomy classes, and if you look
Yeah.
at evolution and human anatomy and how we're evolving,
Yeah.
you know, if you imagine our bottom jaws were out further.
Yeah.
That's why wisdom teeth causes such problems. We're in
Yeah.
the middle of an evolutionary step where
Yeah.
our jaws are pushing back and it's causing problems here.
Yeah.
So our mouths are going this way, and our brains are going this way.
Yeah.
So if you keep that going, you go a few thousand years, this is going to get smaller, it's going to
Yeah.
get bigger. That's now the shape
Yeah.
of a gray alien.
1,000, 2,000,
So then
5,000.
you
yeah,
throw
yeah.
in the mix, which who knows, with media today, there's fears every day about some kind of catastrophe. And imagine human beings have to live underground to survive.
Yeah.
They're going to lose the pigmentation in their skin. They're
Yeah.
going to turn a grayish color. Their eyes are going to have to get
Bigger
evolve to
to
get bigger
adapt
to
to
be able
the
to see
dark.
in low light.
Yeah.
And now you have the full-on gray alien,
Wow.
as it's described.
Yeah. It's neat stuff.
Yeah.
This is another one. This is one of my favorite things. It's a guilty pleasure, but I love it.
Yeah.
Flat Earth. What's your theories on flat Earth?
I mean, we don't know what the guy saw before, you know.
Yeah. I love watching the videos. I love watching I call them like a nerdy video,
Right.
where they get into the tech of
Right.
trying to measure, because they're sitting there going, there's no way, there's no curvature,
Right.
none of that stuff exists.
Right.
We're going to send this device up and it's going to prove it. They
Right.
send the device up and it proves that there's a curve.
Right.
And then they're like, well, it's because it didn't have this around
Exactly.
it. They buy that, send it up, and guess what? It's still a curve.
I believe it's round.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
But I find it interesting. I'm
I
like,
bet
all
it-
right, I'll hear you out. Go ahead.
I've
Prove
been
it to me,
trying.
you
If
know?
you are a flat Earth person, please call in or write in, because I would love to talk to you, because I'm very fascinated. I watch a lot of videos, but I really want to talk to somebody
Right.
live. Like, I really want to know.
Right, yeah.
I find it really interesting.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like you said. Every time that seems to be tried to be proven, they actually prove it's
They
round.
don't. Yeah, they can't do it. And I'm like, if this is the biggest hoax ever,
Right.
and we're all being duped, and this is a Truman
I'm
Show.
open to it.
I'm like, I want to know.
Right.
I want to know. So real quick,
Yep.
you have a media and production company
Yep, I
here
do.
in town. It's called Simple Equations. We can pop that up there. Simple Equations. What services? Because not only do you work on Ghost Adventures, but you do offer your media services,
Yeah.
production services for anybody.
Yeah.
How can they get a hold of you?
SimpleEquationsMedia.com is one way. Also, same thing, but at Gmail for
At Gmail. And you're on Facebook and Twitter
Yeah,
and
all that same stuff.
Instagram, I can see. You're on all the things.
Basically, we have plenty of equipment, gear to shoot anything you need.
From
to film.
everything from music video to a
Exactly.
commercial for
Which,
your business.
That's the thing I love doing, music videos. And,
Yeah,
we'll do
because you're a
commercials.
musician as well.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's kind of what started me in all this, really. I was a musician before I was anything.
Yeah.
And I kind of try to think of just being an artist. Like, I like to create. I feel the need and the energy to create constantly. So whatever medium it is, if it's music, if it's film, if it's paint, if it's drawing, if whatever it is, like I feel just that need to be able to create. And it originally started with music, and then I got into video because I wanted to make music videos.
Music videos,
for
yeah.
the bands I would play in.
Like Rob Zombie. I mean, that guy,
Yeah,
that
we
guy
just
does
started
everything.
playing
He's
around
a
with
crazy
that,
man.
back with like 2 VHS
Wow.
tape decks and editing the 2 VHS tapes. and
Oh, I
stuff
remember
like
the
that.
VHS.
Right?
I remember making mixtapes. What a
Oh,
nightmare
yeah.
that was
Right.
back then. Oh my God, that's so good.
Oh, yeah.
So what? This is just a random question. What is so? Because you deal with spooky stuff. Do you have a favorite horror movie like that? One that you're really into?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. To me, it doesn't feel like a horror movie, but
Yeah.
I always like The Shining.
Shining,
Just
yeah.
The Shining is a beautiful
Have
film.
you been to the Stanley?
I have not, actually.
I
Yeah, that was
visited
right
it a couple of
before-
years ago,
Yeah.
and man, when you stand there and you look up, and it was wintertime too,
Right.
so it was snowing,
I like that.
and it was like, oh, this is it. This is
Right.
the place. Like, wow.
Right.
And I took the ghost tour. I did the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
One of my big nerdy parts of that was Houdini performed up there,
Oh, right.
and the trap and still that he
It's
cut
still
in the
there.
hole in the floor
Oh,
in
wow,
the stage
that's
is
cool.
still there to
Nice.
this day.
That's really
But
cool.
also in Virginia City, the Opera House has the same one that he
Oh,
also
really?
put in
Oh,
there,
wow.
and it's still there,
didn't know that.
which I
That's
found.
really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, with The Shining, and of course I love all the classic slashers.
Yeah.
You know, like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Like grew up having nightmares as a kid to all that stuff. Loved
And
it.
now you walk around literally putting
yeah.
yourself in a situation where
Exactly.
real,
Which is even
real
scarier
creepy
than
things.
horror
Yeah, because
movies,
it's like it's not a guy in a mask.
Yeah.
In a movie production, it's like, no, I'm here in the dark,
Right.
crawling on my stomach in the dark,
Right.
and then
I think that's one of the things too.
Yeah.
Like the downfall, I guess, of it all is that you become desensitized
Yeah.
to certain things. Like I watch a horror movie, and now not only do I experience real horror situations in life, but I also am a production guy. So I watch and I'm like, oh, that's how they did this.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that, and it kind of takes you out of it.
nerdy it out.
So that's
about
why
it.
when I do like them, I like, like The Shining is just the
Yeah.
production value, the way it's shot, things like that. Like that's what impresses me more
Yeah.
necessarily than just like jump scares or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey man, I can't thank you enough for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank
I
you. It was
really
fun.
appreciate it. And I hope all the fans had a great time
Yeah.
listening to Jay. If you didn't catch the whole episode, you can rewatch this on YouTube. You can rewatch this on Facebook. Please like, share, subscribe. Click the little dingy bell, ding, ding, ding bell thing on the YouTube, and you guys will be notified when the episodes are actually uploaded. You guys can tune in to Travel Channel. You can watch Ghost Adventures and the Screaming Room,
Yeah.
Screaming Room, which is a newer show you guys are doing.
Which I love being able to do that.
Yeah.
It kind of brings more insight. It doesn't, a lot of the time the investigation just seems to end.
Yeah.
And there's always unanswered
But
questions.
you guys can go back
Right,
and
we can revisit.
it's almost like
things, we can-
VH1 when they used to have the bubble things pop
Right,
up.
yeah. Or
And-
even I call it like Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Ghost Adventures.
Yeah,
We have a lot of fun doing it.
it's great. I think it's awesome.
And it's even good for us. It's like watching home videos. and
Yeah,
kind of
you can
like,
go
oh,
back and be like, oh, I remember when
Exactly.
this happened that we
Right.
didn't catch. Or,
Yeah, because we
you
do
know.
so many that sometimes you forget what
All the
happened.
stuff
and then all of a
that
sudden you watch
happened.
it like, oh my god, that
Yeah.
was crazy. That makes
That's
sense,
awesome.
And even there's new episodes on now too. So every Thursday night, 9/8 Central, there's brand new episodes of Ghost Adventures. Itself, all new investigations. And this Thursday we're in Cleveland, Ohio,
Okay.
at this place called Franklin Castle, which was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Can't really talk too much.
I know you can't talk about it before it comes out.
I know there's a piece of evidence in there where if we do an interview later, I might say that's my favorite piece of evidence.
Okay, all right. I'll hold you to it. I'll hold you to it. Jay, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
I
you,
really
man.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it was fun.
Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. This has been another episode of After Dark. We hope you guys check us out online. Please go Live Vegas and download our app for your phone, afterdark.host. And we'd like to thank Terror Sound Clothing in the UK for being our sponsor. And if you'd like to be a sponsor, please check us out. You can contact us through email on our website. So guys, tune in again. Next week, we'll be here again with Johnny Katz. So guys, thank you so much. This has been After Dark. Bye, bitches.